The following program was recorded earlier this evening.
Tonight, should those daring and dangerous military air shows be canceled? Trying to call a truce in the bloody gang wars in Los Angeles. On the health beat, one of pro football's best benched for drug use. And move over Spud. Now there's Hogan the ski animal.
From the Independent News, this is USA Tonight with Brad Holbrook.
Good evening. In West Germany and throughout much of the world, it is a day to assess and reflect on a massive tragedy, a day to treat and console the wounded, a day to mourn the dead. The cause of it all, of course, that major air show tragedy at a U.S. air base. 3 Italian jets colliding, one of them becoming a giant fireball, which plummeted into a huge crowd of spectators. More than 40 people were killed. About 500 are reported injured, some of them in critical condition. Today, West Germany announced it's banning all future military air shows for the foreseeable future. Triona Holden has more on this day after the deadly tragedy.
This morning at the U.S. base in Ramstein, there was a sense of shock at the sheer scale of yesterday's disaster. Officials at the base are still trying to establish what went wrong. They're slowly picking their way to the wreckage that's scattered right across the airfield. Over 300,000 spectators, mostly young families, watched yesterday as the Italian Air Force equivalent of the Red Arrows carried out a difficult maneuver. As they flew past at only 200 feet from the ground, it seems there was a mid-air collision between 2 planes. One of them tumbled helplessly out of the sky, crashed into the crowd and burst into flames, causing chaos. The second plane plowed into the runway, and a third aircraft was apparently dragged to the ground by the other 2. The injured were taken to 14 local hospitals. At this one in nearby Landstuhl, there are 37 patients today, some suffering from severe burns, some might not pull through, others are still in a state of shock.
There was a crash. I only see a kind of flash, but I didn't notice this really, because I think it was a part of the show. And then there was a crater flash, and in yellow and orange color, and there was a wave, a kind of hot wave.
In the aftermath of yesterday's disaster, there's growing anger here that the air display went ahead at all. Local people led by politicians and church leaders have been trying to get the show stopped for many years now.
Here in this country, President Reagan is said to be deeply saddened by the air show disaster, which raises the question, how likely is it that a similar air tragedy could happen here? John Aubuchon looks at air shows in America, the challenges, the beauty, and the dangers.
The Thunderbirds, the U.S. Air Force precision flying team, and the Blue Angels, the Navy's famed aerial performers. Neither has escaped fatal accidents. For example, in the Blue Angels' 42-year history, 22 deaths, all pilots, but none of their crashes has ever killed a spectator. And spokesmen for the Pentagon and for each team say they are satisfied that they do things as safely as possible and plan no changes. But retired Admiral Eugene Carroll, who spent 35 years as a naval aviator, believes the risks are built in to what these pilots do.
Machines and human beings pushed right against the limits of their capabilities. And every time you have that combination, you're going to have the scene set for a mistake, either in human performance or in mechanical performance. And there's absolutely no margin for error. So we've always had accidents in air shows. We always will have accidents in air shows.
The Air Force Thunderbirds lost 4 pilots in one mid-air collision practicing for a 1982 show in Nevada. The Blue Angels lost 2 pilots in a 1985 collision at a Niagara Falls air show.
And at times the decision has been very close to canceling the Blue Angel program. After our latest, and I believe it was the last event, tragedy, during training down in El Centro, California, there was a very hard look taken once again at the Blue Angel program.
But the military services reap enormous rewards from these precision teams in PR. The Air Force budgets $1.8 million a year for the Thunderbirds, but in their 82 shows this year, they'll get pilot recruiting appeal and public admiration far beyond what they could buy for that kind of money. The basic team maneuvers all are taught to every combat fighter pilot. What makes them more dangerous for these teams is that they do them at low altitude and with the barest separation between planes. And in part, it's competition between the teams that keeps those elements pushed to the limit. Just as the Italian team yesterday undoubtedly wanted to look better, perhaps even more daring, than the French and Portuguese pilots who performed before them.
If this accident yesterday in Ramstein had happened at Andrews Air Force Base right here in the capital, I think we would have seen the end of the air demo teams.
This is John Aubuchon in Washington.
And another collision in the news tonight, this one on the ground in Austria involving two trains. According to the Austrian Railroad Authority, two trains traveling in opposite directions collided head-on, killing 5 people, injuring as many as 52 others. Officials are calling it the worst accident in Austria in 17 years. They believe it may have been caused by human error when one of the trains was directed onto the wrong track. One train was en route to West Germany from Vienna. The other train was an express train headed for the Alpine city of Innsbruck. When USA Tonight continues, a peace summit in Los Angeles to quell gang violence. We'll be right back.
USA Tonight, brought to you by Taster's Choice and by Kraft.
To see how a bathroom gets this shiny clean, you have to go back to the beginning. To fresh-scented Lysol Basin Tub and Tile Cleaner. Lysol has the power to cut through dirt and soap scum, and it disinfects. Try Fresh Scent Lysol. It's how the shiniest bathrooms get their start.
New Light Scent Love My Carpet. The light scent not to be named Light of. It's tougher on tough carpet odors than Arm & Hammer Light. Light Scent Love My Carpet. Delightful.
The making of freeze-dried Taster's Choice coffee. Search the world for the finest coffee beans. Grind them. And at the peak of freshness, brew the richest, most aromatic coffee you can brew. Then freeze it. Freeze-drying locks in the fresh brewed aroma and flavor until you release it. For a truly superior cup of coffee, the choice for taste is Taster's Choice.
Taste it. 1-800-LOAN-YES? What's that?
The Money Store's new local toll-free number. 1-800-LOAN-YES? That's the number to call for second mortgage loans. I can remember that.
Don't forget, fixed rate.
That's right. The rate stays the same for the life of the loan. Qualified homeowners can get quick approval right over the phone. Borrow up to $100,000 or more. Call the Money Store toll-free. Dial 1-800-LOAN-YES.
I want you, baby. It's in your eyes. It's in your mood. It's the way that you smile and the way that you look. Come to me, baby. You're so fine. Come in my arms. Please don't leave me.
After a bloody weekend of shootings in Los Angeles, community and church leaders are again trying to make peace among the city's warring gangs. Today, gang members met face-to-face at a downtown church, but a similar meeting last month brought no end to the violence, which has claimed 200 lives so far this year. Mike Botula reports that police caution against high expectations from today's peace summit.
It was the worst weekend of gang violence in recent memory. Gunplay erupted from the harbor area across Los Angeles into an adjacent county. In this shooting in LA's harbor area, 2 people died, 2 others were injured.
A white van was driving down the street. It stopped. 2 people got out of the van, both with shotguns. That appears to be 12-gauge double-aught buck shotgun rounds. And they fired several rounds just spraying from the corner of the street all the way down to mid-street.
The weekend bloodbath dashed any optimism police might have had about gaining the upper hand on LA's warring gangs. Ironically, the gang violence crime rate had actually begun falling in the gang-riddled South Bureau.
We don't know yet what caused this flare-up. I think it is just a flare-up. And one thing that frustrates our response to the gang problem is that it's unpredictable. We don't know from day to day, from hour to hour, what is going to occur, or when it's going to occur, or how it's going to occur.
The community is doing its best to deal with the bloodbath on LA's mean streets. Police have responded with a massive show of force. Other community leaders have convened a so-called summit meeting of gang leaders. But one veteran youth gang worker says it'll take a long-term approach before the problem is finally solved. P.G. Ginsis says the ultimate solution is to get to the youngsters who are not yet involved in gangs.
It's a long-range solution. You must get involved, get the kids in the elementary, junior high school. You must get involved with the parents. But you must have a team effort of law enforcement and community combined. Right now, you don't have a team effort like it should be to deal with the problem.
Los Angeles police and gang experts point to growing violence caused by L.A. street gangs in other American cities and say it's no longer just a local problem, but a problem national in scope, crying out for a massive federal program to deal with. In Los Angeles, this is Mike Botula reporting.
Meantime, in the Middle East, confrontation and violence continue to be the theme of life in the Israeli-occupied territories, the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. Israeli police and soldiers are enforcing a renewed crackdown against Palestinian institutions. A pro-PLO newspaper in East Jerusalem has been shut down after charges it was channeling funds to underground PLO leaders. Junior high and high schools in the Gaza and West Bank will be late to open this year. Israel says the schools are centers for student protests, the main force behind the West Bank unrest. Here in this country, the Justice Department says it will not appeal a federal court ruling affirming the PLO's right to maintain an observer mission at the United Nations. Back in June, you may recall, Justice tried to close the mission legally, citing the 1987 Anti-Terrorism Act. A federal judge ruled the act does not apply since the PLO's presence is based on a 40-year-old law covering UN invitees. Today's decision is not to appeal as a victory for the State Department, which feared damage to U.S. efforts toward peace in the Middle East. Up next on the Health Beat, a football giant sidelined for drug abuse.
You want the best for your family.
You're a mom who gives 100%. So you want everything you serve your family to be natural and everything to be fresh. That's why 100% natural Kraft cheese slices are the only natural slices in zip-pack resealable packaging to help keep them fresh.
You've got to give 100%. Then that's what a mother's for.
New resealable 100% natural slices, only from Kraft.
Thank you, Aaron. Okay, Jumpy, would you please read yours?
My summer vacation. We left for 2 weeks to go to Yellowstone. That was Saturday. Then Daddy's money got stolen and we had to come home. That was Sunday.
It could happen to you right here in the U.S., so don't carry cash. Carry American Express traveler's checks. Don't leave home without them.
Petland Discounts, Petland we care.
I'm Neil Pazer, president of Petland Discounts, the tri-state area's largest chain of pet shops.
Owning tropical fish is fun and easy. Wardley's aquarium products. Tropical fish are beautiful, entertaining, relaxing, and educational, and maybe the one pet everyone can own. Ask for Wardley's products at
Petland Discounts, Petland we care.
Now over 50 convenient locations, all open 7 days.
We're not some huge impersonal conglomerate hustling you from one department to another. We're the eye doctor, and we treat you like the very important person you are.
Get Aquaflex or Permaflex contact lenses by CooperVision. Now just $129, including exam, follow-up visits, heat or cold sterilization, and our royal treatment.
After all, we're the eye doctor. That's what makes the difference. Call today for an appointment.
See the difference, see the eye doctor.
USA Tonight Health Feed is brought to you by Ryopan.
Opening day for the 1988 NFL season is 1 week away, and the New York Giants will have to begin without their best defensive player, All-Pro linebacker Lawrence Taylor, who is suspended by the NFL for 30 days. That's 4 football games after he tested positive for drugs. Frank Casey reports it was a somber Coach Bill Parcells who made the announcement.
Obviously, it's a blow to our team, but the Giants organization is supportive of the league drug policy.
The coach said he was surprised to hear that Taylor had flunked the drug test. He said he thought his linebacker had his drug problems behind him. The 7-time All-Pro will miss the first 4 games of the regular season, including next Monday night's opener against last season's champs, the Washington Redskins.
In the Giants' locker room, reaction to Lawrence Taylor's latest drug problem ranged from, I don't want to talk about it, to, we can make it without him.
I can't say much about it, so it's hard for me to really comment on any questions about Lawrence.
He's an average person. He has a sickness and he made a mistake. That's the only way everybody on the team's going to look at it.
You think it's going to hurt the team?
I don't know. It's hard to say right now.
One thing is to be injured on the field. It's another thing to have a relapse of a drug problem.
I just don't want to comment on it. Lawrence is a great player. We all know that. So, I think we all feel confident with our backups, and we're going to go out there and try to do what we can with what we have.
I just feel bad for him because just like anybody else, he's human, and I guess people make mistakes.
In a book released last year called Living on the Edge, Taylor told about his 1985 coke habit, claiming everyone knew about it, including the Giants front office, saying it was almost a thrill in itself, knowing that people knew what I was doing and would not do a damn thing to stop me. I made no effort to hide it. In the book, Taylor also talked about his voluntary stay at a Texas drug treatment center where he says he treated himself by playing golf, implying he could handle his own drug problem.
That is the most facile statement anybody could make. How many alcoholics have I seen who said, I can control it, I don't drink too much? How many cocaine addicts say, I got a habit, but it's nothing that I can't control, I could stop if I wanted to?
Dr. Daniel Crane is the medical director of the ACI Drug Treatment Institute on Manhattan's West Side.
If what they say about Lawrence Taylor is true, he must have known they were going to have a drug test. Why would he not be clean?
If he did know, then we can assume his degree of impairment has proceeded or progressed to the stage where he no longer can control his cravings.
David Faulkner, who co-wrote Taylor's Living on the Edge, says Taylor can't seem to get his personal life on track with his football success.
He's a person who has very clearly stated that he hasn't found the answers in his own life that he's found on a football field.
Under NFL rules, a first drug offense calls for mandatory drug treatment. A second offense means a 30-day suspension. A third offense calls for 1 year suspension. Lawrence Taylor, who could not be reached for comment, has 2 strikes against him. One more and he's over the edge and maybe out of football for good. I'm Frank Casey reporting.
Living on the edge indeed. Now, if you presume that Lawrence Taylor was aware of the drug testing policy, as he must have been, how could it have happened? Why didn't he abstain during those weeks that he knew the drug test could come? Our sports editor, Girard, is here with us to discuss these problems.
Well, first of all, the National Football League tests every player in every camp during the months of July and August. But the precise date for each team is left to the convenience of the team. So it is possible that the Redskins would be tested in early July and the Giants in late August. So Lawrence Taylor didn't know the precise date that the testing would take place. Maybe that's the reason he took a chance. Now, Lawrence Taylor is the 9th player in the NFL to be suspended for drugs this year. You might say, well, the program is not working. It's not a deterrent. But I say, how do we know that? How do we know that 50 other players had second thoughts when they were tempted by drugs? Maybe 100 other players. And then said, wait a minute, my career will go up in smoke. We don't know that. So possibly it is working as a deterrent. And you can't tell any other way but testing. Because players can perform well and still be on drugs. We know that. We have known that a Rookie of the Year was on cocaine, George Rogers, the year he won Rookie of the Year. And Lawrence Taylor was having a good preseason. You can't tell by just looking. That's the tantalizing thing about the drug program and the problem. A lot of tantalizing questions, a lot of intangibles, and only hard answers.
USA Tonight Health Feed is brought to you by Ryopan.
Heartburn?
Oh, I'm dying.
You're not dying. It's that meatball hero.
You can die from a meatball hero.
Better take my Ryopan Plus 2. It's double strength.
Does it work fast?
How fast can you get to the medicine cabinet?
In lab tests, Ryopan Plus 2 starts neutralizing acid in 10 seconds, and 1 teaspoon neutralizes more acid than 2 teaspoons of regular Maalox or Mylanta.
Look who's feeling better.
I'm not dying. Hey, fried chicken.
Oh, no.
Ryopan Plus 2, the fast antacid.
I want a man with a slow hand. He's got a face that I love to touch.
Introducing the new Schick Ultrex Plus.
Its pivoting head has a lubricating comfort strip and one-push cleaning to shave you smoother than ever.
A touch of easy makes me understand. When it comes to love, I want to slow.
New Shake Ultra X Plus, the easy touch for the ultimate shave.
Here I got a whole box of Kellogg's Raisin Squares. No salt, no fat. So is that why I'm eating them? No, I gotta eat them because they taste great. Let's face it, I'm a slave to that raisin in the middle. I mean, everybody knows that staying away from salt and fat makes sense for the heart. And there's a reason for eating Raisin Squares. But me? No. It's yum, 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 yum. Oh, I wish I'd grow up.
Kellogg's Squares. Raisin, strawberry, apple, cinnamon. Relax. Enjoy them to your heart's content.
International terrorism, a once and present danger. How to deal with this worldwide crisis has become a crusade with a man who was held hostage in Iran for 444 agonizing days. As Ed Miller reports, the message is being spread to school children across the nation.
It is slightly, but with a painfully real sound. 3 dozen New York inner-city high school kids are pretending to be terrorists who have taken American hostages. The simulation includes vicious terrorists with a cause, frightened hostages, intermediaries, TV reporters, government officials, even the president.
Our end of the bargain will not be held up until we get concrete evidence that they are safe. One phone call doesn't cut it.
Yes,
we shall shoot one hostage every hour.
Yes, and I will do it myself. You tell the U.S. President that you...
As part of the exercise, the students must analyze situations, draw conclusions, identify values, make decisions, and then evaluate those decisions. Possible solutions range from a negotiated settlement to an all-out massacre. The idea, of course, is to inspire greater interest in foreign policy and to make kids understand that in the Middle East there are more than just good guys and bad guys, that many complex issues divide the region.
He's not going to release our people. No, but he might get something else out of it.
It is a deadly serious game played under the supervision of former American hostage in Iran, Moorhead Kennedy.
They're learning what negotiation is all about. Can you hear them in there? Saying he's not budging. Here we're making all these concessions. I said the other side is saying the same thing. Now you've got intermediaries. Start giving something up.
You want to negotiate? This is a negotiate.
One of the most important lessons is to show how foreign policy is influenced by the media. The terrorists need the media to broadcast their views. The government needs the media to explain what efforts are underway to free the hostages.
We have a camera that's going to convey to the American people and the government that these people are alive. Therefore, you have leverage over them. You understand?
Yes, I do understand. Okay. Very well.
We'd like to continue this then.
We never would have learned anything like this in schools.
It's very difficult being in a government position, trying to make a decision like this because you have to give something up.
I'm getting a greater understanding of what it's really like for all sides.
Today's seminar is a combined effort of New York's City Kids Foundation and the Foreign Policy Association. 3 hours of creative learning, which opens the door to a better understanding of other people's concerns around the world. Ed Miller reporting.
The Polish government is bracing for action tonight against 12,000 striking workers. Today, Labor leader Lech Wałęsa turned down a government proposal for talks promising to strike until victory. Later, Poland's labor minister warned that strikers who don't return to work by Wednesday will be fired. The nationwide protest for union recognition, more money, and better working conditions have increased over the past few weeks. The dispute has tied up vital industries such as shipping, shipbuilding, and steelmaking.
The decision to bring another child into your life is not an easy one, but the choice to help a homeless child,
if you care about children,
a foster child,
if you love children,
to make room in your life for a child in need,
you want to help children,
even for a little while.
Because that's what counts, are the kids.
Is there room at your table for one more? A WPIX special. Tonight at 9 on Channel 11.
Big Al Terrestrial here at Gigantic Autoline in Springfield, New Jersey. We're out to move 2,000 new vehicles to make room for our 1989 stock, and our managers are told to make crazy, incredible deals on 1988 Toyotas. For example, this 1988 Toyota Camry for just $139 a month. That's right, this is $39 a month. Or this beautiful 1988 Toyota Corolla for just $59 a month. You heard right, $59 a month. So what do? Pick up the phone, dial 1-800-AUTOLAND, or better yet, come on down and let's make a deal on a new Toyota today.
I couldn't meet anyone, that was my fate. But now 6 girls I've talked to, I'd estimate.
This guy I'm talking to, a 10 I would rate. With party line, phone line, and new social life I'll create.
Let's do this again, and don't be late. Talk to you soon. Tuesday at 8.
Wow, I guess it's the date. With Party Line phone line, I can really communicate.
1-900-999-8100.
In this date.
Party Line phone line.
It's really great.
Call 1-900-999-8100 now.
USA Tonight, brought to you by American Express.
The name's Hogan. The game is jet skiing. And when people tell you about living the proverbial dog's life, Hogan's life is not the one they had in mind. Move over, Spud. There's a new pooch giving motion to the ocean. Dave Willingham has a story that may give you pause.
Hogan the Wonder Beast is just doggone nuts about jet skiing.
Wakes up in the morning and just starts barking and always wants to go jetting. It's like whole life.
When Hogan heads to the beach, he likes to take the good wheels. We're talking about a pooch with taste here. He's never seen without his shades. That wouldn't be cool at all, would it? And Hogan is a beast that relates to people. Seems to just make friends everywhere.
Hogan, yeah, he does look pretty good. All the girls, I put next to girls, all the girls are looking at him, not me, you know. It's like...
Hogan is a 5-year-old chocolate Labrador retriever, but talks softly when you call him a dog. He hasn't been told yet. He got started with this as a puppy, tagging along while Chip worked as a TV and movie stunt performer. Later on, Hogan got his custom life vest and started carrying that big toy bone he always had. You can almost hear Hogan telling you a little solo jetting is nice, especially on those days when he's in an independent mood. But it's when he and Chip double up that Hogan really gets to loving it.
Hogan's whole deal is just to catch, you know, big as air as he can. He's like flying deer, thinks he's like something or something.
Catching big air, by the way, is jumping the ski. Chip and Hogan feature this trick when they entertain fans at jet ski races. Audiences love it.
The dog is just great. It's unbelievable.
It's pretty stupid.
Well, most of the time they love it. Actually, Chip is looking to wider horizons for his Wonder Beast. They've entered a big money contest sponsored by a pet food company, which could lead to starring roles, or at least lots of dog food for Hogan. But the word is out. No beer commercial, like you-know-who.
That dog's name, but I'm not even sure of the name, but you know, I've never seen a dog to catch as big as air as Hogan, and that's the main thing that counts there, you know.
Big air may be turning into a family affair. One of Hogan's sons is reported following in Dad's paw steps, showing a remarkable aptitude for the jet ski. I'm Dave Willingham on Free Beach.
That's USA Tonight. I'm Brad Holbrook. Thanks very much for being with us. Hope to see you back here tomorrow night. Goodbye.
WPIX has news bureaus in New Jersey on the Rutherford campus of Fairleigh Dickinson University, 223 Montrose Avenue, and on Long Island at 3000 Hempstead Turnpike, Levittown.
The preceding program was recorded earlier this evening.